Fellas, what's good? What an amazing end to, the cut last week, Really felt good, really felt great, obviously, definitely, refed over the weekend, that's what I will say. And, Monday, for the lifts, I got right to compound lifts, exactly like I said I would. And you want to know what? Same here for leg day. It is Tuesday, and we are going to be doing squats. So you want to know what? I'm like, I don't know what I felt like making a video this week. I was going to do maybe a little bit of bench, a little bit of everything. But you want to know what? We're bigger and better, and we're bringing back the squat. You know what I mean? I haven't done it in almost probably a year now. So, what a time to bring it back. You know what I mean? Compound lifts and, a squat rack. I will be saying, well, finally, too, it is a great thing to say. Honestly, it's like a long time coming almost. It's weird, but it's only food, like Jesus. But, the cluck moo that's out there, that restaurant, like burger joint place that opened up in front of the gym, I'm going to be stopping there after your lift, too. So, that's going to be fire. That's going to be nice. But, fellers, I'm not going to lie. I went back and I also did look at all the pump checks and stuff, and man, it was a great week though. But rolling into the next best thing, besides being cut and lean, it either goes between hitting that and a PR. Like I don't know which one feels better, but like now we're on another path, and it's compound lifts. So like we're gonna be going back kind of like to powerlifting, but not like just for the fact of just like trying to hit 315 bench press. If I'm hitting 300 bench press while, hitting 405 for a squat, like I'm cool with that. Like as long as the numbers are big, you know what I mean? But obviously we got a little ways until we get there because we got to put some work in. But, new chapters, compound lifts, kind of little powerlifting, kind of not. But for the most part, we're just going to be maintaining probably between 175, 180 for weight. Nothing too crazy. I'm not going to be trying to maintain 170 because that's literally my cut. So we're going to be putting on a little bit again, nothing to cover up a whole six pack like, the winter arc, or our year-long bulk, realistically. But nothing like that, but like for the most part, going to be having a little bit more than being lean and ripped, but either way, fellas, the weight moves the same. I'll catch you guys at the gym.
Alrighty, fellas, so what we got coming in here is our infamous compound lift of a squat, baby. Yes, believe it. We only did 225 today, but we did 3 sets of 10. I also did a warm-up set just because I didn't really know how I was going to feel on it, so I did one set of 135, but like I'm not gonna count that towards the workout routine. It was just like a warm-up. Also, we haven't squatted in forever, so like just a feel out process here. But for the most part, I think I just gotta work on stability, and that's like a lot of the problems with all my compound lifts. I was kind of feeling, I guess, throughout the week, but I think I gotta build a little bit up in my back, shoulders for bench pressing, but that's besides the point. We're hitting legs today, but at least for legs, I want to say stability is probably like the key thing. Then we come over here, still doing isos, but I'm gonna probably switch over to doing both legs at the same time to help the mind muscle balance together, because now that we're getting into compounds, I'm not really just focusing on building one singular muscle. I want to have everything in sync with each other. But we come over here, we hit our single leg raises, 3 sets, 10 with the 7 partials to top it off. Nothing's really changed in that sense, but just making sure now that we're into not cutting but not like bulking, maintenance, that we're putting the weight up a little bit but not getting carried away with it. Just still feeling like the nice mind muscle connection with like a strain amount on the muscle, so you get that lactic acid build up in there. But either way, we come over here, we got our 3 sets of 10 with the 7 partials for our leg curl or hammy curls here, or leg curls, whatever you want to call it. you know, I'm not going to lie. I miscounted my sets, and I actually did 4. But we're not going to put that here because that's not part of my routine. Or, you know, at least structured workout. You know, I just did extra work, I guess, for no reason. There's always a reason. Either way, you know, we just finished this out very strongly, though. You know, still, like I said, ISO, but honestly, I will probably switch that over. Let me come over here to the sus machine. This is new. 3 sets of 10 with opening. I'm not gonna lie, I did go light just to, you know, compensate. Maybe, you know, being sore the next day. I'm not gonna lie, it's 2 days later and I'm still sore. But hey, whatever. You know what? We ball. You know, I'm going to lightly work myself into this one because I have gone hard on this one. And that's the reason why I never did it again. Because I couldn't walk. It felt like I could not walk right for a week because my groin was so sore. Then we got our closums here. 3 sets of 12. You know, like I said, nothing heavy with this neither. Both, whether I went out or inwards, was about the same. Not weight-wise, but, you know, in the sense of we're not going to go too crazy with this, you know, because it's our first time, and I got to be able to move in and out of the trenches, boys. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I got to get down, I got to get down. But, you know, either way, we roll into our leg lunges now. 3 sets, 12 and 12 each leg. You know, nothing's changed with this. But honestly, you know, with this one, now having more added workouts, like, that's the one thing. Like, this machine's been maxed out. You can tell right from, you know, looking at the weight stack. But, you know, now that I've added other things, and, you know, obviously squatting's a big one, though, too. Like, this one's starting to kick my ass again, I'm not going to lie, which is a good thing. You know, that's why I kind of was always saving it for the end, because it was my way to get, you know, the max out of it. You know, but, hey, I'm not going to lie. Whew. You know, this had me fighting and squeezing on those grips as hard as possible. But, you know, I don't know what. It's all worth it. And this is why I also don't take things out of my... I try not to take things out of my workout, but rework things. You know, I'm always willing to add, but not take things out. You know, but in that sense, you know, just sticking to it was right. Then we come over here. We got our 3 sets of 20 with partial squats. I'm not going to lie. I also have kicked my feet up higher on the pad. And I've kind of just made it more like a partial deadlift in a sense, you know, where, like, you know, you get down and, like, that part, like, where you transition to more your, you know, your leg back part, you know, that's what I've kind of been focusing on with that, is the explosion of, like, the deadlift, you know, with that workout, I guess. I don't know. It's my way of thinking. You know, we gotta give it a few weeks and maybe we'll see, you know, if it's really, you know, right or not, I guess. Either way, though, come over here. We got our calf raises, 4 sets of 12. You know, I don't know what the beef is with seated down calf raises, by the way, but, like, everyone been blowing me up in the comments for doing seated. Like, man, chill. I just started hitting calves, like, this month. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally been a month. But, you know, for some reason, everyone's like, yo, just do stand up. But you want to know what? I'm going to do seated because I can. Either way, I don't really know the difference. I don't really think there'd be a major difference. But, hey, you want to know what? I don't know. You try it. Let me know. You know what? Do what you feel is better. And I'm going to do seated just because it's like that at the gym. But I could also utilize the machines, honestly, to do stand up as well. But, you know, we come over here. We got our decline sit-ups, 3 sets of 10 with our plate pushed outwards. You know, I'm not going to lie, this one was a killer on the cut, but now that we're off the cut, it honestly feels nice. Then we got to cut our leg, Then we come in with our leg raises here. You know, 3 sets of 10 with a pause on the way up and a pause on the way down in the middle. You know, this one's really just hitting that lower core, and that's the one thing, even though we're not, you know, cutting and anything, I still want to keep the ab workouts in there for now and see, you know, because I've never really, like, kept a steady ab training workout. I'm not gonna lie, like, I've only done abs when it's time for the cut, so we're gonna test this.
Fellas, pump check on leg day. Oh, it was so fuzzy. Still working on them, like, but I really don't comprehend them as much. Can't really get them down. I don't know. Still working on it. Alrighty, fellas. That's all I got left. Now I'm gonna go stretch, and you know, we're gonna go get cluck cluck moo. I'm gonna skip cardio, low key, because I'm really hungry. But screw it. Alrighty, fellas. Like I said, we're going to cluck cluck moo. Best believe we went. You know, I'm not gonna lie. Got a nice, decent fry here. You know, they really loaded it up right in the bag. You know, French fries. Almost remind me like the look of them, like McDonald's, but taste is way better. You know, crispier, obviously more like quality because it feels like it's more homemade. And you know, everything about the fries actually tastes like good. But what we got here is it's called Cluck Their Moo or Moo Their Clucker, or yeah, whatever, something like that. It's a chicken tender with a 4-ounce chicken tender with a 4-ounce patty on there smashed into a burger. I was depicting between that and like their monster burger, which is like 3 4-ounce patties. But like I'm like, yo, the switch up, and then it has their moo sauce on it and a pickle. So you know, let's get into that. By the way, fellas, before I like get fully into it, I will say, you know, the lift felt good. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it felt pretty good to get under a squat bar. You know what I mean? And get into that, you know, get back in the squat. I'm not gonna lie, felt a little shaky on my back, but like not pain, like just like I think like the strength, stability thing. Same with my legs, you know, a little shaky. We only did 225, obviously, for 3 sets. But I did 135 just for like a warm-up to get like a little quick feel. And I'm like, all right, everything feels good. So we just threw another plate on there. But I didn't want to go too crazy. Like from there, obviously, first week we're rolling into it. Like I was doing incline bench earlier in the week for like 135. Just feeling a nice stretch, slow and control, 12 reps, 3 sets type of deal. And then I did flat bench, and this was at my house. I did this with 65-pound dumbbells, just, you know, slow and control, obviously not crazy weight, but just enough to like get it like a little unstable. Because like I'm honestly, even when I was chasing 315 for a bench, like I didn't really realize how much like different benching with dumbbells on a flat bench is compared to like the bar. Like you're really like unstable, like it's max instability. So it's like, you know, whatever, but you know, it definitely adds to it. But you know, let's get away from talking here. Enjoy this beautiful burger we have here. Looks beautiful. Get that up in there. Beautiful. But you know, I'm not going to waste no time and get right into it. I'm going to make sure I got pickle in there. You know what? The tender chicken, you know, it's a nice crisp chicken tender. Very good. The meat, definitely a nice burger. I wish I would have got the triple burger. You know what I mean? Get some nice beef and get crazy with it. But I'm not going to lie. You know, for a good twist, you know, getting a little bowl of the best worlds with the chicken and the, you know, the beef. So we getting that little cluck, we getting that little moo. You know, this is fire. I'm not going to lie. Now, for the expense end, it was $20 for a fry and a burger. which is pretty expensive, I would say. It was $13.55 for this burger, and $5.75 for the fry. So definitely expensive. But for a nice little mom and pop shack, you know what I mean? Quality. That's for damn sure. But I'll catch you guys on the flip.
Yeah, just got an extra. If I give you time, is it worth my mind? Common pressure on the line, pushing heat, cooking beef, smoking weed. Catch a feeling off of me, comments on the check, but you know it's on the next. Building up the stress, got another ex, so I son and get a check, can't stop success. Now they mad at me, going out bad for me. Keep the energy, just another enemy. Rolling with the squad, always on hot. In the car, rolling with my six, that's my clique. Home is Buffalo, cold to the stone. Born in a storm, bad to the bone. When I'm in my zone and I'm all alone, free my mind, phone decline, D&D, don't disturb. If I give you time, is it worth my mind? Common pressure on the line.
So, like I said, we're gonna treat ourselves. It's Friday, we got Macy's Pizza. Look at that. Pizza rolls, mini pizza, 10 wings. Oh my god, let's get it.
Hey, yeah. Whoa, hey, yeah. Check in. Yeah. Whoa. I've been standing on business cause I really don't care. Could've took that song down, but I really don't care. Yeah, stand on my word cause I really don't care how you think I felt, but you really didn't care. I've been standing on business cause I really don't care. Could've took that song down, but I really don't care. Yeah, stand on my word cause I really don't care how you think I felt, but you really didn't care. Yeah, it's been a real long while.
Alrighty, fellas, and that's a wrap on today's video. Got a little bit of deadlifting in and squatting, after our leg day. Our next leg day on Friday there, we went and pushed the weight up a little bit. It did feel good. Not gonna lie. It was only second day going at it, so I didn't want to get too crazy, but we did up the weight up a little bit. Just an extra 30 pounds, I think it was, off the top of my head. But either way, we got some deadlifting. Got up to 365. Anyways, fellas, as always, stay hustling, stay grinding, stay focused. Peace out. See you guys in the next one.